Yes, welcome everyone to the Marijuana Times show for December 12th, 2017. I'm your host, Joe Klare. Go check out myself and many other great writers over at marijuanatimes.org for all the latest news and opinion about the cannabis community and industry and beyond. You can also find these videos and share them. The YouTube version of the video, we're also on Facebook, Marijuana Times on Facebook. But marijuanatimes.org has all these videos. Go share them with your friends on those social media networks. All the kids are excited about. We got a lot of stories to talk about today, including Indiana and CBD oil and the saga that's going on there. Also, new medical marijuana regulations from New York State, from the New York State Department of... What's the Department of? Marijuana regulations? No, Department of Health. I was close. No, I wasn't. Let's face it, I wasn't close at all. Also, a possible delay in Canadian marijuana legalization. We'll talk about all of that coming up, of course. But first, I'll tell you the Marijuana Times show is brought to you by NatureSideCannabis.com. Check them out. They have organic, all-natural pesticides. If you're a cultivator in a place like California or Colorado or Oregon or Washington or somewhere else where cultivation is legal, well, you got regulations to follow, and you also don't want to be selling your customers tainted cannabis with dangerous chemicals and other various harmful pesticides in them. And you want to follow those regulations. NatureSideCannabis.com can help you do that with organic, all-natural pesticides. They'll also help you on the regulatory end as well. Proud sponsor of the Marijuana Times show, Natureside Cannabis. Thank you to them. This first story comes from Kathy Garten on marijuanatimes.org. Indiana and CBD oil, the Attorney General refuses to let it go. CBD oil continues to be an area of confusion and concern in the state of Indiana. On November 21st, 2017, the Office of the Attorney General issued official opinion 2017-7 to outline the reasons why CBD oil should not be made available to the general public. Quote, simply put, cannabidiol is a Schedule I controlled substance because marijuana is a Schedule I controlled substance, according to Attorney General Curtis Hill. Some of you may remember the raid conducted by the Indiana State Excise Police. Yes, we talked about them before. Excise Police, not regular police, a whole other police force for, well, these people, Fresh Time Grocery Store in Greenwood, Indiana, they had CBD products on their shelves. That's right, you heard me. CBD. So they sent in the excise police, confiscated so dumb, thousands of dollars worth of CBD oil products from the shelves of a Fresh Time Market. Their actions brought an outrage from customers that purchased the homeopathic oil as an alternative to addictive pain relievers. After the story gained statewide attention by Channel 13, WTHR, the store was able to restock their shelves pending legal clarification. That clarification came in the form of Opinion 2017-7. It actually does little to clarify what's going on. Basically, it do a lot of gobbledygook and a long, convoluted explanation. Basically, as he said, the Attorney General said, it's made from marijuana. Marijuana Schedule I, therefore it's illegal. According to Governor Eric Holcomb, all stores in Indiana that currently sell CBD products have 60 days to sell or remove said products from store shelves or risk being in violation of the law. That's right, they will send in the excise police to confiscate your products and harm your business, because that's what we should be worried about. Let's say CBD, it's illegal. Big deal. Why worry about it? Why worry about it? There's things you can go to Walgreens right now that are much, much, much more dangerous than CBD oil. Buy them right over the counter. Although the Sudafed stuff now, because of meth makers, they have it's behind the locked cases or whatever. But there are things you can buy right now that are much more dangerous than CBD oil. But let's focus on that. I wonder what the budget is for the Indiana State Excise Police. I bet it's pretty big. I bet if you saw the number, you'd be like, wow, that seems unnecessary. Why are we doing that? No, I don't know. I don't live in Indiana. If I was a taxpayer in Indiana, well, I'd be asking some questions, at the very least. This next story comes from health.ny.gov. New York State Department of Health announces new medical marijuana regulations. They'll become effective December 27th, 2017. Quote, ensuring access to medical marijuana for eligible patients is central to the department's efforts to responsibly grow New York's medical marijuana program. This according to New York State Department of Health Commissioner Dr. Howard Zucker. He said the new regulations will benefit current and prospective patients and practitioners, as well as registered organizations, and continue to build on the progress the program has made since launch nearly 2 years ago. Under new regulations, registered organizations are allowed to manufacture and distribute additional products, including topicals such as ointments, lotions, and patches, solid and semi-solid products, including chewable and effervescent tablets and lozenges, and certain non-smokable forms of ground plant material. That's right, because you're not allowed any smokable marijuana under the New York medical marijuana program. As of December 8th, 2017, there are 38,642 certified patients and 1,358 registered practitioners participating in the program, which is actually, to be fair, I mean, in writing and elsewhere, I've given the business, I guess, if you will, to the New York medical marijuana program and how restrictive it is. But in a state that's big, it's not a big number, but 38,000 patients and almost 1,400 registered practitioners, it's not nothing. It's not something to sneeze at. That is 38,000 patients, presumably getting some sort of relief, help, whatever. There need to be more. Should smokable marijuana be allowed? Should there be less restrictions? Absolutely. Yes to all of that. But for now, it's, as you said, it is growing, and they are adding more products, as you just heard. So it's moving in the right direction, at the very least. This last story comes from the globeandmail.com. Legal marijuana deadline may be up in smoke. Get it? It's a pun. As Tory Senator stalls bill, this is up from in Canada. You may think that you'll be able to buy marijuana legally as of July 1st. You should think again. Conservative senators are threatening to hold up passage of the two bills that will legalize cannabis consumption and toughen rules against abuse. Unless the senators yield, the bills are unlikely to become law in time for the Canada Day deadline. I think we have to do our job properly, and that means months. Conservative Senator Claude Kerrigan, the lead opposition critic on the legislation, said when asked in an interview how long he thought it would take the Senate to pass the bills. How many months? The House took 8 months to study the bills, he said. Really? 8 months? Is it really that complicated? And most of the tax money and most of the regulations are going to be taken up by the provinces anyway. What do you need 8 months for? Anyway, he said it will probably take the same timeline to do our job properly, given the summer recess that would push Senate ratification to the end of 2018 at least. According to Kerrigan, he said if businesses take a risk to adopt a plan without legislation in place, adopted by both houses, well, I guess basically they're saying that's their problem. My recommendation is to take their time and don't take an unusual business risk. Of course, people are provincial governments are negotiating contracts with suppliers who are ramping up production. Governments and private companies are signing leases for storefronts. Police forces are acquiring new equipment and training officers to identify pot and impaired drivers. All of this, of course, in anticipation of the July 1st deadline, which everybody was talking about. And now all of a sudden, well, maybe not. There's some procedural stuff they talk about later in the story that can be done, which may or may not be done to expedite things. I wouldn't count on it. I said since the beginning of all of this that things move slowly in Canada, especially politically, and this is not going to be any different. Senators will start debate on Bill C-45, which sets out the term for legalizing cannabis use and sale, and C-46, which sets out new laws for impaired driving due to marijuana use. They'll do that when Parliament returns at the end of January. But Mr. Kerrigan, I've said that wrong many times probably, which, if you're a regular listener to the show, will not surprise you. He believes the bills do not adequately address issues such as drug tests for workers, equipment, and training for police forces, the impact of legalization on young people, and the tax implications for provinces. All require careful, conservative study. Apparently, that will take months and months and months to study And some senators have said, if this is just a delaying tactic, we'll vote to break the blockade, so to speak. If independent senators want to respect the July 1st deadline, they could form an ad hoc coalition of the willing that could set and enforce deadlines for debating and voting on the two bills. It's, hard to tell if that'll happen. I guess we'll find out. If you're Canadian and you're counting on July 1st, well, calm down. Just settle down there, partner. May not be on the way. That's the Marijuana Times show for December 12th, 2017. Thanks everybody for listening. My name is Joe Klare. Come check us out, all of us out at marijuanatimes.org. Of course, search the Marijuana Times on Apple Podcasts. We are now an audio podcast for you on the go people who don't have time to sit down and look at me tell you the news. If you just want to hear the audio version, search the Marijuana Times on Apple Podcasts. Thank you to NatureSideCannabis.com for being a proud sponsor of the Marijuana Times show. Organic, all natural pesticides. That's NatureSideCannabis.com. Thanks everybody for listening, watching, and checking us out, sharing, commenting, liking, all that stuff. Go share the videos. Go check out marijuanatimes.org. And we'll see you next time on the Marijuana Times show.